Have you ever considered that every single choice you made today is just a huge gamble?
I mean, it's a pretty jarring thought, isn't it?
Right. Like from grabbing a coffee with a coworker to calling a loved one or, just deciding where to invest your energy this afternoon?
Yeah, it makes you a high-stakes gambler. And we spend so much time and energy and money building these routines
Oh, absolutely.
because we want our lives to feel secure,
Right.
to feel predictable. So the very idea that our entire carefully curated existence might just be a spin of the roulette wheel, it's deeply unsettling.
It really is. Because you wake up, you do your morning commute, you sit at your desk, and it feels incredibly low risk.
Yeah,
You feel like you are in the driver's seat. But today's deep dive is going to completely flip that script.
completely.
They're looking at a really highly provocative 2020 essay by Shufeng, which was translated by Kinyu. It's titled, Check If You Are a Gambler.
Such a great title.
And our mission here today is to radically challenge your baseline definition of risk and certainty. We are exploring the central thesis of this essay, which is that almost everyone is a gambler.
Whether they realize it or not.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is the definition of a gambler here?
Right.
Because clearly, I mean, we aren't just talking about sitting down to play Texas Hold'em.
No, not at all. We are talking about something much more fundamental to the human experience.
Okay.
Early on, the essay establishes this foundational definition that really shifts the paradigm.
Hmm.
A gambler isn't just someone sitting at a blackjack table.
Right.
A gambler is anyone who bets their money, their youth, their future, and their very life on uncertain things.
Just putting it all out there.
Yeah, all while tricking themselves into believing those things are absolute certainties.
Wow. So it's a crisis of self-identification, really.
Exactly. It's about the psychological mechanism of projection.
Hmm.
We look at this totally unpredictable, chaotic future, and because the human brain just hates uncertainty.
We despise it.
Right. So we artificially convince ourselves that an outcome is a sure thing. We basically slap a label of certainty over a gaping void of unknown variables.
And Shofeng makes this incredibly sharp distinction about real physical casinos to illustrate this point, which I found just fascinating.
Yeah, the part about the dealers?
Yes. Because you'd think the people running the games, like the dealers, the pit bosses, the casino owners, that they are the ultimate gamblers.
But they aren't.
He says no, they actually aren't gambling at all.
Precisely. The casino dealers in the house are not gambling because the games are mathematically stacked in their favor.
Right, the house always wins.
They aren't operating on hope or risk. They are operating on pure statistical certainty. It is the participants, the players walking through those neon doors who are the true gamblers.
The ones who actually take the risks.
Yeah. And according to the text, they are the ones who eventually lose everything, sometimes down to the clothes on their backs. The math is simple, the truth is clear, and yet people still, willingly sit down at the table.
Well, wait, hold on. I have to interject here because looking at this, my common sense kicks in.
Sure.
I get that putting your life savings on red in Vegas is a massive risk.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the lottery's a gamble.
Right.
But calling my morning coffee routine or grabbing lunch with a coworker a gamble feels like a massive stretch. How does this apply to my normal, safe life?
I get that.
I mean, I'm not risking my house when I choose a career path or make a new friend. I'm just living. It feels a bit extreme.
It definitely feels like a leap until you reevaluate what your stakes actually are.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, you might not be pushing plastic poker chips across a green felt table, but you are betting something much more valuable.
My time?
Your time, your emotional bandwidth, and your strictly limited lifespan on this earth.
Oh, wow, okay.
That immediate resistance you are feeling, that pushback, that is exactly the illusion of safety the essay is trying to shatter.
So I'm just tricking myself.
We think that just because we aren't in a literal casino, we aren't playing a game of chance. But Shufeng argues we just trade the neon lights for something much closer to home.
Which brings us to the most deeply personal casino we all enter, our private relationships.
The intimate casinos.
Yes, and this is where the essay pulls absolutely no punches. He makes the incredibly bold claim that marriage is life's biggest gamble.
Think about the underlying mechanics of marriage, though, just through the lens of strict risk assessment.
Oh,
You are taking your youth, your assets, your entire life trajectory, and you are betting it all on another human being.
right.
But what is the one defining characteristic of human beings?
They change.
They are inherently unpredictable. You can never fully know someone else's personality, their evolving outlook on life, or, how their core interests will shift over decades.
Right. You are essentially betting on a static snapshot of a dynamic entity.
Exactly.
You walk down the aisle expecting joyous, harmonious, lifelong love.
Uh,
But you are basing that expectation on a totally incomplete data set.
because living in constant uncertainty is just terrifying for us. We need that narrative of safety.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. His logic here is actually pretty brutal.
Yeah, he doesn't sugarcoat it.
He follows this thread to a rather shocking conclusion. He states that since all gambling eventually ends in a loss, because, as we said, the house always wins, the result of marriage is, quote, of course tragic.
It strips away all the romanticism we usually apply to commitment, doesn't it?
It really does.
He's reducing it down to pure probability. By his logic, if the core nature of a gamble is that the player eventually loses, and if marriage is a gamble built on wildly unknowable variables, then it is mathematically destined for a tragic outcome.
Man.
You are playing a high-stakes game where you don't control the variables, but you've convinced yourself you do.
So essentially he's saying every beautifully embossed wedding invitation you get in the mail is actually a ticket to a slow-motion casino loss.
Basically, yeah.
It's a pretty brutal thing to write in a Hallmark card. But structurally, when you remove the emotion, he makes a compelling case. And it doesn't stop at marriage.
No, it doesn't.
The essay applies this exact same calculus to having and raising children.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is how he unpacks raising children as a wager.
Right.
If a parent's main goal for having kids is tied to future expectations, they are actively gambling.
So like expecting them to take care of you.
Exactly. The essay specifically uses the examples of having children to bring glory to your ancestors or to secure protection and financial support for your old age.
Which, honestly, historically and culturally has been the primary reason for having kids for centuries.
Right. But there is absolutely no guarantee that your kids will do either of those things.
True.
Whether your children will become wildly successful or whether they will even be around to support you when you are old is an entirely unknown variable. It produces a deeply questionable future.
But parents put their hard work and their sweat and their money into it anyway.
Yeah, and their deepest emotional hopes. So Suofeng simply asks, if you are investing everything you have into an unpredictable return, how are you not a gambler?
I mean, for everyone listening, just think about the last major interaction you had with your own family. Think about the expectations you hold for your parents, your kids, or your partner.
It's a lot to consider.
Are those expectations actually based on guaranteed realities? Or are they actually just bets? Like, are they wagers you placed with your heart that you simply expect to win because the alternative is too scary?
It really is a paradigm-shifting way to view our private lives. We're conditioned to view family as a sanctuary from the chaos of the world.
A safe harbor.
Right. But this framework suggests family is actually a high-stakes table where we've put our most valuable assets on the line.
Now, if we are mathematically doomed to lose the bets we make on our own spouses and children, people we actually live in the same house with, it's terrifying to think about the bets we place on massive, faceless systems.
Where we have absolutely zero control.
Exactly. Which brings us to the public arena. We're basically walking out of the intimate casinos and onto the main floor.
The arenas of politics, business, and society.
And as a quick reminder to our listeners, we are just exploring the source material here impartially. But what makes Yufeng's analysis of global politics so fascinating is that he strips away the ideology entirely.
Yes, he completely ignores it.
He doesn't care if a party is left-wing, right-wing, centrist, whatever. He looks at it purely structurally. Regardless of your political leanings, his mathematical breakdown of joining any party is pretty confronting.
That structural approach is key to understanding his point. He notes that there are over 1,000 political parties globally.
Wow, over 1,000.
Yeah. And his argument is that no matter which one of those 1,000 you choose to join or support, becoming a member is the equivalent of walking up to a roulette table.
Because political parties are, by definition, contenders for power and interest. Where there is competition and a race for power, it is a zero-sum game. There are going to be winners, and there are going to be losers. And his logic is ironclad. Anything that inherently produces winners and losers is a gamble.
Therefore, partisans, people deeply invested in political parties, are gamblers.
You are betting your time, your money, and your emotional energy on a team, hoping for a specific outcome that you cannot possibly guarantee.
And people constantly confuse that tribal belonging with a guaranteed outcome. If
Hmm.
we connect this to the bigger picture, the essay broadens the scope to include almost all public human endeavors.
Like business.
Right. It is not just the pursuit of political power, it is the economy.
Hmm.
Playing stock market, diving into venture capitalism, or, starting a new business from
Which
scratch.
we generally praise as entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
But under this lens, they are explicit gambles.
Total
You
gambles.
take massive financial and professional risks, wishing for generous returns, but you just do not know what the outcomes will be,
You could have the greatest business plan in the world backed by solid data.
and still fail.
Exactly. A sudden market shift or a global event could make the results totally counterproductive. You are imagining a huge payout, but you can never be sure.
And it isn't just restricted to money or high-level startups. He applies this to literally all interpersonal relationships.
This part is so relatable.
Reading his take on networking and socializing, I couldn't help but picture someone standing in front of a slot machine. You put your coin in, you pull the lever, and you just pray the right symbols line up.
That slot machine analogy perfectly captures how he describes the social gamble.
He states that whether you are forming relationships for safety, for business benefit, or just for, like, entertainment, establishing special relationships is a gamble.
You never know what you're going to get.
Right. You're pulling that lever, and you never know if you're bringing in noble allies who will lift you up, or if you are inviting, as the text puts it, wolves into the house.
That's a powerful phrase.
Yeah, they could be curses. Every field, the battlefield, officialdom, the workplace, business, love, they all operate exactly like a casino.
Because the underlying theme connecting all of this is our fundamental lack of control over external forces.
We just don't have it.
No. Once you cross the threshold into any of these fields and invest your physical strength, your mental energy, and your future into something whose direction cannot be determined by you alone, you are a gambler.
It is wild to reframe a simple Tuesday evening networking mixer as a casino floor, but the logic holds up.
It really does.
You are betting your social energy on the chance of a positive return. But as high as the stakes of money and political power are, Su Feng pushes this concept even further.
To the absolute limit.
Right, to the absolute highest stakes possible, what we could call the cosmic casino.
Yes. We are talking about religion, belief systems, and the ultimate destiny of the human soul.
And again, total neutrality here. We are navigating this just to examine his philosophical argument about structural risk. We aren't looking to determine which religion is right or wrong.
Right, we're just looking at the framework.
The essay categorizes faith as the ultimate wager.
This raises an important question, though. How does faith actually fit into a framework of probability?
Good question.
The essay argues that becoming a religious believer is essentially placing a massive existential bet on absolute truth. You are taking your destiny, your daily behaviors, and your future and using them as chips.
Pushing them all to the center of the table?
Exactly. Betting that specific religious rituals and beliefs are the one true reality of the universe.
But he views this as a form of incredibly high-stakes wishful thinking. He asks if these beliefs can actually withstand the rigorous verification of facts, science, logic, and spiritual perception.
Because almost every religion claims to be the only correct belief.
They all claim to be the house. But they can't all be the house, right?
No, they can't. They can't all hold the monopoly on absolute truth when they fundamentally disagree on the rules of the game. And he highlights the structural contradictions between major world religions to prove this point.
Yeah, let's look at the specific examples he points out, like the rules of marriage between Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism.
That's a stark contrast.
Christianity dictates monogamy. Islam allows a man to have 4 wives. And devout Buddhists remain completely unmarried and celibate. He asks, which one of these is actually consistent with the underlying truth of the universe?
Right, if you pick one path, you are actively betting against the other two.
And the stakes get exponentially higher when you look at their views on death and the afterlife, the ultimate unknown.
It's the biggest unknown there is.
Does a person reincarnate after death? Or do you lie quietly, unconscious, waiting for a final judgment and resurrection? These are entirely contradictory views of the universe. So what does this all mean for the everyday believer?
It means that because none of this can be definitively verified before you die, choosing any belief system is placing an existential bet on a completely uncertain future.
Wow.
If you dedicate your entire mortal life to a specific set of rules in preparation for an afterlife, you are gambling. You are wagering your life on a post-mortal payout. And the kicker is, you cannot prove that payout exists until the game is already over.
It is the ultimate blind bet. You don't get to see the dealer's cards until you've already gone all in and the hand is over. Which brings us to the conclusion of the essay.
The final ultimatum.
Yeah. After systematically deconstructing our entire lives, our marriages, careers, politics, religions, and labeling them all as different floors of the same massive casino, he issues a serious wake-up call.
He literally demands of the reader, wake up now. What on earth are you here for? A huge gamble.
It's so intense.
It is. He breaks down the reality of our situation into a final dichotomy. Two distinct paths forward once you accept that life is a gamble.
Okay, what's option A?
Option A is the path of pure hedonism. If you recognize that life is just a series of blind bets and you think gambling is fun, then his advice is surprisingly simple. Just play as much as you like.
Because, as he says, everything is empty in the end.
Right. If it is all a game of chance with no inherent meaning, why not enjoy the thrill of the spin?
Just embrace the absolute chaos of the casino. Pull the levers, place the bets, and don't sweat the losses because none of it matters anyway. But then there was option B.
Option B is where he leans into a much deeper philosophical concept. He says, if you know that emptiness is not empty, the text uses the phrase kanji-se, which means form is emptiness, emptiness is form, then we must think deeply about life.
Okay, this is a massive concept. Let's make sure we really ground this. How does emptiness as form actually change how we live?
Think of emptiness in this context, not as a dark, empty void, but as a completely blank canvas.
Okay, canvas.
It's empty of a specific painting right now, which means it holds the infinite potential to become absolutely anything. Because it is empty, it is full of possibility.
Oh, I see.
Therefore, if life is this blank canvas, we shouldn't just throw paint at it blindly like we do in option A's hedonism. We should paint with extreme focused intention.
That makes so much sense. If there is a deeper reality beneath the unpredictable surface of our choices, we can't just blindly place our bets on whatever feels good in the moment. We have to be incredibly intentional about why we are sitting at the table and why we are playing the game at all.
It shifts your perspective from blindly demanding a guaranteed outcome to accepting the beautiful, terrifying unpredictability of the canvas.
You stop blaming yourself when a bet doesn't pay off.
Because you understand that risk was always part of the equation.
So, for you listening, think about the next time you make a major decision, whether that is starting a new company, going to a networking event, or even deciding to get married. Recognize the inherent uncertainty in that choice.
Acknowledge the odds, but play anyway with your eyes wide open.
Exactly. Because knowledge is most valuable when it's actually applied. Recognizing the gamble in your daily life isn't meant to paralyze you with fear. It is meant to free you from the illusion of certainty.
It's about trading the illusion of control for genuine participation in life.
It really is a total perspective shift. But before we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with one final, brand new thought to mull over. Something that builds on Sui Feng's essay, but takes it one step further.
Oh, I like where this is going.
If the essay is right, and every single active choice we make, loving, working, believing, is a gamble, what about inaction?
Interesting.
It's choosing not to marry, choosing not to invest your money, or choosing not to adopt a belief system. Simply a different kind of bet.
A bet on nothing.
Right. You might think you are walking away from the table to protect yourself, but in the casino of life, is it possible that refusing to play is actually the biggest gamble of all? Think about that the next time you try to play it safe. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.